All right. Hello, class. Again, this is this is a pre-recording session for my BIT 550 class. Um, Today, we are going to talk about data architecture, which also involves um, data integration. Um, One of the things that you'll notice in this week's discussion is we talk a lot about the importance of data architecture. What are some of the component parts? We also talk about in the discussion board, why is it important, um, to have the appropriate data architect. And so one of the things that we're going to do here is, you know, we're gonna cover today, with the rise of data-driven organizations, the pace of innovation in data-centric technology has been tremendous. New tools and techniques are emerging at an exponential rate, and it is difficult to keep track of the array of technological choices available to today's data management professionals. At the same time, core fundamentals such as data quality, metadata management remains critical in order for organizations to obtain true business value for their data. So during this webinar today, we'll try to touch on a few things, and we're going to try to demystify, what is data lakes and its relation to data warehousing. We're going to talk a little bit about graph database. We're going to talk about NoSQL and more, and how to integrate these new technologies with core architectural fundamentals, right? That will help your organization benefit from the quick wins that are possible from these exciting technologies, while at the same time build on long-term sustainable architecture that will support the inevitable change that will continue in the industry. One of the interesting things that I had to learn, 22 years ago, was what was the underlying infrastructure. And many times when we showed up at a client's facility, one of the things that we did, depending on how sophisticated the company was. Now, we're talking a little bit more than 22 years ago, when many companies, many of them didn't even have a data warehouse. Some of them did because of the impending doom associated with Y2K. So many of you, my students who may not be of that age, and I think many of you are, you might remember, but you may have been very young and not in the working world, so you may not remember the fever push to Y2K and the proliferation of new data warehouses across the business landscape. But one of the things we always did when we went to a client's facility was we talked about, the current state. What was the current infrastructure? And again, going back, depends on the company and the level of technology. You'd find a hodgepodge of different things. Okay, for example, when we went to Federal Express, you're talking about the headquarters in Memphis, Tennessee. There isn't a more impressive IT infrastructure and talent any place else. I mean, some places are probably better today or just as robust, because we have a lot of companies, since that time that have emerged, Google, Amazon, and, just a whole lot of other, Facebook and others. And not to mention that, Walmart's is also, but again, we're talking 22 plus years ago. So that should just kind of give you some indication as to how far this whole industry has come and how important infrastructure has been and continues to be now that we're moving stuff to the clouds and all that other kind of stuff. All right. So what is data architecture? Well, the DMA, data management body of knowledge, defines data architecture as the following. Data architecture is fundamental to data management because most organizations have more than data than individual people can comprehend. It is necessary to represent organizational data at a different level of abstraction so that it can be understood and management can make decisions about it. Data architecture artifacts include specifications used to describe existing data, define data requirements, guide data integration, and control data assets as put forth in the data strategy. An organization's data architecture is described by an integrated collection of master design documents at different levels of abstraction, including standards that govern how data is collected, stored, managed, used, and removed. It's also classified by description of all the containers and paths that data takes through an organization systems. So what are some of the business drivers for data architecture? Okay, what's driving the need, right? As more organizations see data as a strategic asset with the drive towards digital business transformation on the rise, the need to analyze, understand, and govern core data assets continue to be a key goal. Um, what are what are your main goals? Now, this was a survey that was done, and so they went out and did a survey and asked a lot of industry, pundits, IT, and other functional areas. What are some of the main goals and drivers for implementing a data architecture? And as you can see, if you look at the chart, there was a number of things that people would say that was important to them. Most specifically, reporting and business intelligence. As you can see, by 70%, regulatory compliance and data governance was next. And then there's a whole host of other things, your big data use cases and so forth. Efficiency and cost savings, data science and discovery. So you could take a look and see what the business community thought was, the key drivers for data architecture. Okay. So aligning business strategy and data strategy. A successful data strategy links business goal with technological solutions. This is one of the things that comes up a lot. Again, and as a consultant, we are always thinking of the grand scheme. What is the rationale? Why does this company want to do this? Now, I think we all can surmise that they want to do it because they want to be able to be, data savvy. They want to be, but what businesses are really trying to do is understand the information that they already have, the information that they are collecting, and perhaps new information, data that they can be collecting. But it has to tie in somewhere. If you're just collecting data, the question comes up: are you collecting the right data? Okay, and so there has to be an alignment, and this is where we came in all the times as the sort of the consulting firm that dealt specifically with business intelligence. Is we're always trying to marry the data with the overarching goal of the business. What is it that the business is really trying to do, and what is the underlying data that they want to use to leverage to help them make those key decisions. So one of the things that you can look at is top-down alignment with business priorities. So you have the business strategy, and then you have the alignment with the data strategy, right? Then managing the people, the process, policies, and the culture around the data. Spent a lot of time talking about people, process, and culture, and policies as well. Spent a lot of time, and that's the data governance. That is the body that kind of says, how all these things are going to sort of fit together and what's going to guide, what. It's almost like a cookie cutter or a template for how we're going to manage this, right? Leveraging and managing data for strategic advantage. So you have master data management, you have data warehousing, business intelligence, big data analytics, data quality, data architecture, and modeling, right? Then you have the coordinating and integrating disparate data sources. So data asset planning and inventory. Where's the data? Where's it all located? And how are we going to get it all in terms of the source data and get it into the data warehouse so that we can do the integration. We can identify the data as it relates to metadata management, which is information about the data. So we know exactly where the data is, and how it's configured, right? And then we have bottoms-up management and inventory of data sources. So we have the database, we have big data, we have unstructured data, we have semi-structured data, we have documents and content management, right? So this is very important. And so even if you go back to 22 years ago, we didn't have big data, right? And we didn't have unstructured data, right? Or even semi-structured data, right? All of these are new components. So that's why it's making, the data strategy even that much more important as we go forward. So as far as it relates to data architecture, we're trying to find the right fit, right? A successful data architecture enforces fit for purpose solution. So we have operational data, right? So customer X, and one of the interesting things is, as I was talking about, 22, 23 years ago when I first started in this industry, we call it business intelligence today, but back then it was called this, right? CRM, right? Customer X orders product Y at 2 p.m., customer X calls support at 1 p.m., calling into the call center. Sometimes we weren't that sophisticated then, right? So we had, a lot of companies had access to ERP, wasn't necessarily tied in. And this, Internet of Things, customer turn, and all that stuff is new, right? And so under reporting and analytics, we have enterprise, historical reporting. What were the total sales of product X into a 16 by region? We had analytics and discovery. Again, some of this is new. Operational reporting, how many support calls are currently open, CRM, another report, limited personal use. We had access data, and we also had Excel. So those are some of the stuff that we had. Golden record for customers, product. We have customer master, product master, reference data. Again, the data warehouse, all of it tied into the server and the customer interface, so forth. We have the metadata, always had metadata. The business glossary, how is total sales calculated? What is a qualified lead? The business user developers, data models, how do we uniquely identify a customer? Can a customer have more than one email? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? So this is a kind of a good, roadmap that kind of shows, the importance of the various silos. Okay? Industry trends. So data platform are currently in use. So which of the following data sources or platform are you currently using? This is another survey that was done. A wide range of technologies are currently in use. Relational database, most common, both clouds and on-premise. Spreadsheet is ubiquitous. Even with the emergence of new technologies, the relational database continues to be the tried and true workhorse of the organization. And so which of the following data sources or platforms are you currently using? So as you could see, spreadsheets is still very key. Relational on-premise database are still clearly the leader. It's been that way for a long time, still is today. Legacy platforms, mainframe, COBOL, it's there. And you'll be surprised how so many companies, it's going to take a long time before that changes, right? And then you can see big data platforms, right? Hadoop ecosystem, and some of the other new things that have come on board since then. So, as much as things change, is a lot, as much as things have stayed the same. Industry trends, emerging tools. Which of the following do you plan to use in the future that you are not using currently? Okay, so you look at, again, this was another survey that was done on industry. For those looking at new technology, there's a wide range of responses. Big data platform, a leader, move to cloud, relational database management and system, graph database, real-time streaming, Internet of Things. Many are still uncertain, indicating the vast rate of change and wide array of choices available. And as you can see here, big data platform, many looking to big data platforms. Movement to the cloud is very popular. Look, uncertainty is still very, very common. So, I share this with you to see that, even though I started in 1998 and a lot has happened, right? So 1998, 2000, so that's 2000, to 2010 and 2010 to 2020. That's 22 years, respectively. As much as we like to think that, that a lot of stuff, have not, have not really changed. Okay. Big data, a growing trend. Analysis and discovery are key drivers. For what use cases are you using big data? Data science and discovery, reporting and analytics. Many people, again, still don't know. It's kind of blow you away. Big data concerns, security is a leading concern, and data governance was the top right in. Data governance, data security are key issues for both big data and cloud implementation. This is a key challenge for modern data architecture, right? And again, another survey, what are your concerns, and so forth, okay? Well, I hope this constitutes a good intro into data architecture and database management. I wanted to just take a few minutes and kind of, walk through some of these things with you. As we get together during our online Zoom training, we can go further into some of these discussions. But this is a pretty good start, and I think it's a pretty good introduction into data architecture. I hope this was helpful. Again, this is Michael Taylor, your professor, and I hope you guys are staying safe, and we'll talk real soon. All right, have a good day.